Pregame.com.
We actually have a rematch from last year's NCAA first round. RJ Bell here at the pregame.com studios, just off the Vegas Strip. We're talking the only rematch, USC Providence. I'm interested to see how that rematch plays into your handicap. Who do you like?
I like USC in this one, minus the 2.5. And let's talk about that game last year. USC, in my opinion, maximum motivated. They lost by a single point in that NCAA tournament game, a game they should have won. They led by 7 with under 8 minutes left, led by 5 with under 4 minutes left, led the entire final minute until 1 second was left when Providence hit a layup to knock USC out of the NCAA tournament. I got to think the players for USC, the coaches for USC, all off season long had to be stewing over the fact that they lost a game they should have won. And lo and behold, they get lucky as far as the selection process, and they get to avenge that loss in the opening round against Providence.
You know, I was following you, and I was agreeing. Then you had to go that extra step all summer long. Come on. These kids are in USC, in LA, on the beach, and they're thinking, at Providence, we're going to get you. But I'll let you go with that. I think you've been hanging with Fezzik too much. He likes to get too much nuance. I'm going to set it aside and say maybe. But I guess, I mean, to me, you would think that everyone's going to be motivated. It's the NCAA tournament.
I agree with you. I think both teams have that maximum motivation in this regard, but
so they're both max, so they can't.
They're both max. Well, I'm going to use. You said I'm hanging with Fez too much. Let's go with an '80s movie reference. Spinal Tap.
Are you talking about his pompadour, like the '80s hair?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I think both are at a 10.
I wish I had hair that thick.
Oh, I do too. Oh my goodness. I think USC's dial here goes from 10 to 11 because of that revenge.
All right, I'm going to be honest. I usually agree. I'm going to say I half agree on that one. To me, I think that the situation, I think where there is extra motivation is the fact that USC has been a bubble team. And there's been a lot of talk that maybe they shouldn't have made the tournament. And think about it, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, and you're hearing about it. I think that is a motivator.
It is. And here's one show. I don't like watching a lot of the analyst shows on ESPN, but I do watch the bracketology show because, in my opinion, it sets the whole narrative as far as the public perception of the NCAA tournament.
And the public's involved heavy.
Absolutely. 10 to 15 times the amount of a regular season game. And what did I see when I turned it on? Dick Vitale. USC should be out, Syracuse should be in. I see Jay Billis. USC didn't play anyone. They only beat 2 teams in the top 50. And I know it's getting in USC's ear because their head coach, Andy Enfield, talked about there being an East Coast bias.
Yeah, I like that one. Second man handicap.
Let's talk about USC's head coach, Andy Enfield, one of the best tournament coaches there is in the entire country, conference and NCAA tournament in his career, 14-3 against the spread. One of my favorite personal handicaps this time of year is to back coaches that can elevate their team in the month of March. Everyone knows about Rick Pitino at Louisville, Tom Izzo, Michigan State. They don't necessarily know about USC's Andy Enfield. That's why I think there's some value.
Yeah, NCAA tournament is a different animal. And usually the coaches with a lot of success are the biggest names. You just take them off. To have a non-monster name that knows how to win in the tournament, I think that is gold. I also think a team with a quirky style of play. And if you play that team in conference, multiple times a year, you get used to it. Yeah, we had a rematch here, but in general, this is still a quirky offense. I think in the tournament, that can be a problem for the opponent. The quirky team has an advantage.
No question. And it is his offense that has that unique style of play. They spread out their teams. He was the head coach at Florida Gulf Coast when they made their run as a Sweet 16 team as a 15 seed. What do? They spread it out. They were known as Dunk City. Same can be said for those USC teams. They've been in the top 20 offensive efficiency each of his 3 years.
Yeah, and you guys, we got a monster podcast coming up, and we're going to be diving into those kind of concepts. Malinsky has some real thoughts on that. Let's make this baby official.
Yeah, let's make this one official. We're taking USC minus 2.5. USC has revenge here. Providence beat them by a single point at the buzzer in last year's NCAA tournament. Both teams are going to be motivated. I'll concede that to RJ, but I think USC is maximum motivated. And USC's head coach, Andy Enfield, one of the best there is this time time of year in March, 14-3 against the spread. He knows how to get his teams to elevate this time of the year. Add it all up, and USC gets a comfortable win. More videos at pregame.com.